My wife Amy, 43, and I, 44 male, have a biological son, Ethan, teen, an adopted son, Aiden, teen, and a daughter, Gracie, tween. We adopted Aiden and Gracie 10 years ago. We've talked about colleges for a while with the boys, and they both want to stay together wherever they go. We have college funds for all three children in the same amount, so they can afford to go if they decide to. My mother died and left me a lot of money, and I used it to fund their accounts, as I thought this was more important than paying off our mortgage, which we're comfortable paying each month. The more the boys talk about college, the more Amy gets upset with how much money it's going to cost. This all ended up in a huge argument between us, and her calling me an idiot. She's happy to fund Ethan's college, but only part for Aiden and Gracie. I told her this wasn't fair, as they're all our kids, not just Ethan. He doesn't mean more just because he has our DNA. I told her it was my inheritance, and I could do what I wanted with it, and I wanted to make sure the kids had a good start to life. She said that she deserves stuff too, and me spending all the money on the kids means she doesn't get what she wants. She left a few days ago, and I haven't heard anything from her. I thought the kids didn't hear the fight, but today Aiden came down and told me he was sorry for causing a fight between us, and that he's grateful that I stood up for him and Gracie. My heart went out to him, and I said that I would always stand up for him and that I loved him and Gracie. He said, I know, but I'm not sure about Mom. So, am I the idiot? Should I compromise a bit to keep Amy happy? Not the idiot. Make sure the money is in funds tied directly to each child, and your wife doesn't have access. You may even want to talk to a lawyer about how to make sure the money's not touchable in a divorce settlement if it comes to that. I don't trust someone who could think and speak that way about children that they've been raising for a decade. I was thinking the same. In the event of divorce or death, do you have the money already secured for the children so she doesn't have access to any of it? Sorry, but the wife is untrustworthy. I could never do such a thing to my bio and stepchildren. Is she upset you're contributing to your adoptive kids and is saying you should do less so that she can have more money? Or should all the kids have less money so she can have some? Either way, she's the idiot, and then she just up and left for days? So yeah, perhaps consider whether you want to be with a partner that throws a fit and then leaves for days when she doesn't get what she wants at the expense of her kids. But I wonder what your wife wants so much that she would torpedo her relationship with her children for. Why is she under the impression she can't get it without withholding a portion of the kids' college funds? You say you're paying the mortgage comfortably, but what about other bills? Does your wife have secret debt? Gambling issues? OP, something's not making sense here. What was she like when the topic of adoption came up? Whose idea was it? She wants a new car and a big flashy holiday. The adoption was her idea, as her cousin and his wife were losing custody of the kids. Sadly, they are no longer with us and haven't contributed to their upbringing at all. I work full-time and pay all the mortgage and bills. She works part-time just for something to do. She keeps her money. She likes to spend money on stuff we don't need. Are you saying that your adopted kids are related to your wife? It was already bad, but wow, it keeps getting worse and worse. Holy smokes, she has that kind of resentment toward them that she'd deny the kids she wanted you to adopt as a couple because they were the biological children of her cousin and his wife. You're a father in the best possible way to all your children. I'm so sorry you have to go through this mess with your wife, though. I'm sorry that Aiden and his sister have had such a cruelly harsh reality crash down on them about their mom because of her gluttonous greed for money and stuff. Update. Am I the idiot for treating my adopted children like my biological child? Thank you for all your comments. The house is in my name as I inherited it from my grandfather. I took out a mortgage to remodel when we adopted the kids. All three kids are in therapy. Ethan doesn't necessarily need it, but he feels like he's missing out on something, so he goes too. They have group and separate therapy, which was recommended to us. Amy left a few days ago. She's safe with her sister, but has not contacted us in any way. I hoped she would at least contact the kids, but no. I can't be with her anymore as I can't see how she can repair the relationship with the kids. Her coming back now would be detrimental to their well-being, and it's something I can't risk. In no way will I abandon Amy, though. I love her with all my heart, And if there's something going on that I don't know about, then she needs help, and her family abandoning her will cause more harm than good. I am willing to support her, but not be a couple at the moment. If it's just that she's greedy and selfish, then she can forget about having any kind of relationship with me. I guess I'll find out in the next few months. Also, I don't think Ethan is my biological son, and Aiden and Gracie are my adopted children. They're all of my kids, so biological and adopted aren't words I use daily when describing my children. Thank you. I knew I was in the right, but sometimes you need a stranger to say it and point out some things that you may have missed. Thanks for the update. She's jealous of the kids that lost their parents, kids that need love. She's greedy. She only thought of the things she wanted. She has a house and doesn't need anything, but wants to deprive these kids of a future for what? Stuff? I'd never let her set foot in that house again. Poor Aiden had to hear that too. She's Cruella. Thank goodness they have you, a parent who loves and cares equally for them. If you were struggling and Amy were working multiple jobs to survive, I could understand her hoping for some of the inheritance to ease her burden, but she works part-time for something to do. If she wants more, she can work for it. I'm confident you'll find a way forward for yourself and all your children. I, 31 male, recently completed my PhD and a postdoc position. I only made a little money during that period, about $26K annually for my PhD, and about $32K while working as a postdoc. My wife, 30, who I married when I got my PhD, makes a crap load more than me and made a crap load more than me. She made about $100K while we were together, so there was quite a bit of a gap. She also came with the idea that we should put away some of our income for ourselves and for the family, which would be proportional to our income to keep it fair. She always got a bit fancier stuff than me, and I was pretty jealous. I didn't voice it to her, which I guess I should have, but I don't understand how she doesn't realize it. While I was working as a postdoc, I made connections with a couple of people who were starting up a company. Long story short, last year I made $300K without including my stake in the company. It is obviously risky, but I think the risk is paid off, for me at least. I did get a Tesla Model S, which I'm entirely paying with my own money, including the insurance, and I'm starting to buy more expensive stuff for myself too, and it honestly feels amazing. Now she's asking if we should combine our incomes and get the same amount of our money, which feels like total BS. She wants to eat her cake and have it too, and I just said no, she wasn't being fair. She then went on a spiel about equity, which I honestly didn't listen to, so she can make that suggestion, but I am allowed to say no, right? Am I the idiot? I didn't voice it to her, which I guess I should have, but I don't understand how she doesn't realize. So you resented her for years and expected her to read your mind or something? Instead, you're complaining that your wife voices the same feelings you've had for years but didn't communicate. She might have agreed to revisit the agreement if you'd only asked. Maintaining the agreement is fair, but you're doing this out of spite, not for fairness' sake. You are the idiot. How did you get a PhD when you can't communicate simple things? Sheesh. You were working on the PhD and postdoc for what, 8 years? During that time, she supported your butt, keeping a roof over your head and food on the table. She made it possible for you to concentrate on your studies and earn your PhD. The only thing you're gonna earn now is a divorce. Hope that's what you want. Agreed. Ugh. Unfortunate reminder to never provide for a man, because there's a chance he's secretly competing with you and/or quietly building resentment. When said dude advances in his career, he'll quickly switch up on you. Not all men, just enough to make the stereotype prevalent. Stay safe out here, girls. As a kid, I always looked up to my older sis because she was so cool, pretty, and a popular girl. I always tried to be like her, dress like her, listen to her music. You get the idea. I was popular the first time I stepped through the high school door because I was basically a copy of her. I was overwhelmed by the attention, but quickly found out she was most popular with only the guys. She dated many of the guys in our high school, and they thought I would too. I was so embarrassed. I had her mom take me out to buy new clothes and everything. Whatever she did, I went the opposite way. She wore tons of makeup. I wore none. She listened to a certain type of music, but I didn't. We went to different colleges. Fast forward to now. Sis must have figured out her lifestyle wasn't healthy, so she stopped dating a bunch of men, deleted all those apps, and met Sam. He's handsome with a great personality and a fantastic job. He was smart, funny, outgoing, and could own the entire room when he walked in. He grew up in a different city, so his family doesn't live here, but we've met and they're amazing, just like him. Sam quickly replaced us as Mom's favorite child and became our dad's best friend. He eventually proposed and everyone was over the moon. I was very happy for Sis. Last week, she came to my door looking like a complete wreck. She was crying so hard she couldn't talk. After an hour or so, I calmed her down enough to get the story. Apparently, they were at a party and were mingling separately when he overheard some guys talking about her popularity. Sam joined the group and got her dating history. 2 of the guys in that group dated her, and about 4 other guys at that party did too, one of whom works with him, which is why they were there. He heard the guys laughing about how all the men in town were depressed when she went away to college, but rejoiced when she came back. So when they got home, he asked her, and she told him the truth, and he left without saying a word. I helped Sis, and she's been staying with me for now. She hasn't told anyone and has been trying to get in touch with Sam and his family, but they're all ignoring her. Everyone on our side is super confused because Sam just disappeared. Our cousin, my best friend, pinned me down the other day to ask what happened. I told her and she was appalled. She called him all sorts of names and said he was insecure. I said I could understand from his view as we live in a small town, and it's hard to know many men and your coworkers know your future wife. Then my cousin and I got into it. She said I should be supporting my sis no matter what. I argued that I was supporting her, but supporting doesn't mean I have to agree with her. Now I might lose my best friend. Edit. We're all in our 30s, graduated college, and living independently. Hard, you are the idiot. You sound pretty smug and judgmental. That was her past. Sister isn't like that now. She met a great guy who's apparently judging her past. In my honest opinion, he wasn't the right one for her anyway if he's like that. Is he untouched? I agree with your friend. You should be supporting your sister. You also sound like you're crushing on Sam. That was my first thought too. Sister is jealous and has a crush on Sam. From a male point of view, none of those guys had the quality to keep her. Everyone happily took advantage of her, but now acts like she's to be outcast and blamed. What a bunch of worms. Sam had many good qualities, but because he found out that she had a life before him, what a surprise. He leaves without a word? Don't defend him and put all the blame on him just for leaving without a word. That's incredibly misogynistic. If she had been a guy, it would have been fine. As a woman, I always ask myself that question in any situation. Would it be the same if this was a man doing it? Would she have left him if he slept around in high school? And her friends were all talking about it? Or is this a situation created by her exes, trying to act alpha around her new man? Crowding around talking about what? Gross frat guy behavior? And it doesn't seem like you like your sister that much. You have a terrible opinion of her. Controversial opinion, but I would hate to be in a room and find out that my fiance slept with half the people in the room. I would feel lied to because a lie and omission is still a lie. If he had told me his dating history before then, I could have been prepared for what may happen or what people say. So in my early 20s, I got into business with a man, Eric, who stole all my money and left me in debt. I sued and lost because I was an idiot who blindly trusted this man and didn't do things correctly to protect my rights. He was also a smart man who probably made a living by stealing from people. I went to therapy, paid the debts, and learned from that lesson. 30 years later, I found out that my daughter's fiance, Jake, who she's been with for 4 years, is the son of that darn thief. I liked Jake, and he always seemed like a great man. I know this sounds stupid, which I clearly am at times, but despite knowing Jake's last name and his father's first name, it went over my head that Jake's father had the same name as that crap criminal. His first and last name is so common that I never connected the dots, I guess. That is, until I was at my daughter's apartment with Jake and his mother. I saw Jake's father's name written on one of the wedding invitations, and as soon as I saw the full name written on the paper, it clicked. I was shocked and terrified, so I excused myself and went back home to do some internet stalking to make sure this was the same guy. It was. I was so angry and confused that I went back to my daughter's apartment and told them that Jake's father had stolen my money and ruined my life. I probably seemed like a lunatic trying to explain this to all of them. It's been 2 weeks since I found out. Jake believes I lied about his father stealing from me because I lost the case. My daughter is clearly confused, and she says she believes me, but refuses to postpone the wedding after all this was uncovered. Jake's mom, who divorced Eric years ago, is accusing me of waiting until this moment to reveal this information because I want to sabotage the wedding and back out of helping her pay for the wedding after promising to do so. I feel so conflicted. I'm angry that this piece of crap somehow barged into my life again. I don't trust Jake because I have no idea how much he truly knows about his father. His father raised him for most of his childhood. I'm worried about my daughter, and I feel so stupid for not realizing this when Jake talked to me about his family, which was probably a year ago when they got engaged. I feel sick to my stomach, and I've been begging my daughter to reconsider and just take more time to think before marrying Jake. Everyone around me except my sister, who saw firsthand what this guy did to me, thinks I'm an idiot for burdening my daughter and Jake with this information and for trying to convince my daughter to at least postpone the wedding. Am I the idiot for wanting my daughter to rethink her relationship because of all of this? Not the idiot. Apples sometimes don't fall far from the tree. I would definitely want to know if I was marrying into a family that has a thief. Is your daughter getting a prenup? What a weird coincidence. You should probably try to be less emotional about it when talking with your daughter. Poor thing. That's a scary thing to find out about your fiance's family at the 11th hour. But honestly, if anyone had done something like that to my mom, I would have some serious second thoughts about marrying the son. You are the idiot. I get it. It hurts. And you feel blindsided and tricked and confused and icky. You've had an emotional reaction. But this emotional reaction is not fair to your daughter, nor is your request to postpone the wedding, to at least postpone the wedding, which reads like you'll be trying to convince her to cancel it. Your daughter's engaged to Jake, not Eric. Limit your exposure to Eric and let your daughter live her life. Agree. I believe you are kind of the idiot for projecting the way you view this man who hurt you onto his son, with whom you stated you had no problems prior to finding out who his father was. My father's a raging alcoholic, and I don't even have a beer a year. Your DNA doesn't determine who you are as a person, so try your best to separate your views of those two people. OP said Eric raised Jake. Eric's a con artist. Kids learn to lie from people like Eric and are taught that it's perfectly fine to screw people before they screw you. Look at how Jake's first reaction was to tell OP, well, you lost the case, so you're lying. He is very naive at how the laws and trials can work, or he's just like Daddy. OP, you will absolutely need to sit down and have a longer and calmer discussion with your daughter and her fiancé about this.